2020-2021. Before we start, I would like to remind you of some housekeeping rules. All participants will be muted during the presentation and talks. You can use a chat function to communicate with members. Please use it wisely. We will inform all when it's time for Q&A. Please use the raise hand function on Zoom, so you'll be invited to speak. Finally, please ensure you're registered with your full name, not a nickname, so it's easier to spot who's speaking if you turn off your video. However, we recommend you to keep switched on your video throughout the session so we can take your attendance. Note also this session will be recorded for record keeping and for club promotion on social media. President Dinesh, I hand it over to you.
Thank you, John.
Most welcome.
I'm very pleased to call the meeting to order. I think you could stop your presentation, John.
There is no presentation. You can share.
You can mute.
I don't have any presentation.
All right. Yeah.
You can mute.
Oh, there was no presentation. Thank you. Honorary Member Padmanabhan. Honorary Member Bhagwan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Past presidents, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, very good evening and warm welcome to everybody. I'm very pleased to see you to our 9th meeting this year. And our guests, I welcome you all. And I'm sure members who have invited you are in touch with you. And some of the guests are going to be our members very soon, within a week or so. Very warm welcome. We also have our speaker, Srinivasan, Venkita, Padmanabhan, and I can take the liberty because everybody call you Venkit. Very warm welcome, and I thank you very much for accepting our invitation to speak tonight. Looking forward to it. And your topic is confluence of self and business leadership. Looking forward. I would like to now call upon Rotarian and Director Ysc Gulati to toast our institution, great institution, Rotary International. Varun, please.
Thank you, President Dinesh. It is my pleasure today to raise a toast. So fellow Rotarians, would you keep sitting and join me for a toast to, there's no Rotary Club, I guess, today, though we have a guest, but she hasn't arrived yet. So we'll probably do that later. So we raise a toast to Rotary International.
Rotary
International.
Right, I think I'll share my screen. Honorary Secretary's announcement. Our Honorary Secretary is not in today, so I'll make that. I think there's only one announcement that we'll have vocational service meeting tomorrow at 7 o'clock. It'll be a Zoom meeting, and there's going to be interesting fireside chat. Please do attend. Now is birthdays. Joseph Chia is here. Let us together celebrate his birthday today on 9th September, and also Hassan Musa is also 9th September. Happy birthday, Joseph. And on 15th September, we have Jamshid Madora, and Director Sonali also on 15th September. Please join me for happy birthday to all the birthday celebrants today. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Birthday.
Wedding anniversary, best wishes to wedding anniversary celebrants this week. Dr. Melvin and Sharon, Dr. Melvin is not here on 14th September, and also Michael and Sylvia Howe also on 14th September. Once again, happy wedding anniversary, both of you. Next, as you know that we have started a new segment. What's happening? It's just starting. And here we want to bring you the information about our activities. not only in service committees. In coming meetings, you will hear more about other activities like membership, our activities on public relations, and so on. And today, I'm very pleased to call upon our IC Director, Varun Gulati, and YC Director, Dr. Ganesh Ramalingam. I think Director Varun will start first, and he will just give you a snapshot of the activities so far. Varun, please.
Sure. Thank you, President Dinesh. Hello, everyone. Very good evening and very warm welcome to the meeting. I'll give you a little bit details about what's happening in ISC. No slides, just a quick update. So first thing is that we tried to do hybrid meetings, and we did our first meeting at PP Lipke's house. Then later on, PP Lipke again helped us to do a meeting last time where we had a great background. And our next hybrid meeting, and it's going very well. We in fact did a lot of fellowship even after. A lot of people joined us. We shared the pictures in ISC chats. So next time, please do join us. And our next meeting is going to happen at Pak Mohan's office. So if anyone who's keen to attend, please drop me a message. Otherwise, I will contact people who probably have not attended any ISC meetings so far with us physically, since we have limitation on the number of people. There's another update from sister clubs. We've done a lot of sister club streamlining this year, thanks to our Rotarian Willie Hess and PP Stanlow. I think Willie is there. Willie, you can wave at people if you're there. So thanks to them, we have streamlined our sister club, and we basically gotten them to involve more with us. Through that, we in fact gotten a new local project from Rotarian Wesley Sim of Rotary Club of Perth. And that project looks good, though of course ISC will not be executing that project, but at least through our international contracts, we will be able to explore something locally. On the other side, there is an announcement today for Philippines, which VP Perlita wanted to do for the Rotary Club of Rizal West in the Philippines. And the Rotary Club Reserve West has this year a project providing education to primary school children, school fees, uniforms, and other things in a remote area in Benguet, north of Philippines, which they have supported for many years. This year, they have invited us to extend our support due to the bigger needs and cause of families being affected by the pandemic. PP Oliver, PP Dr. Shahul, and PP Perlita, and including myself, we've contributed close to about $900, but we're still looking for more. And all the contributions will be matched 1-to-1 by the generous donors in RCRW. So that's pretty much the update from my side, quick update, and I will now leave to Dr. Ganesh for the next update. Thank you.
Thank you, Varun. Dr. Ganesh, please.
Good evening, President Dinesh, past presidents and all honorary Rotarians, and everyone who's present today. My name is Dr. Ganesh. I'm the Ysc chair. Can I share the screen?
Yes, please.
Yes.
So I've prepared a little presentation on all our updates of all our current projects. I know I've only 3 minutes to go. I see there's 45 participants, so I'm a bit nervous here. So let's share this.
You can have one more
Okay,
minute.
1 more minute. Okay, about 60 seconds more. I've almost enough time. So can you see my slides?
Yes.
All right, so these are the Ysc updates as per 9 September 2020. We just go into only our major projects. We're very proud to announce that we have successfully navigated our ILTC for this year. Give you a brief outline of what I'm going to say. Firstly, the ILTC.
Can you do it presentation mode?
Is this one? Or presentation mode like this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So ILTC and our main projects, the Project Ascendo for mental health, which is very important, especially during this period. ASEAN Clean Hands project, which is also very important. We're also very relevant projects that we are doing, and then we are increasing our reach for both of them. The important thing is getting our members to help our Interact and Rotaract clubs. And finally, an important current move we are doing now is there's some increased participation with the Rotaract clubs of Singapore, where we're going to take a bigger step and bigger role in their function. Okay, and of course the installations are coming along, installations where all the different Interact clubs are presenting their new board of directors. It's very difficult for them because during this COVID period, there's a lot of flux between getting members and actually having meetings and running the Interact projects. So let's give a quick update. ILTC, it was very successful. It's the highest number of participants ever with the highest number of schools ever. And I guess mainly due to the fact that it was online, so a lot of students participated, and very warmly, the feedback was tremendous. It was a joint project with the Youth Corps of Singapore, which is under the MCCY, Ministry of Youth. So that was very well done, and we are going to build on it for next year. I believe that there are even more schools joining in next year. Okay, so the major project for this year will be the Exendo project, which is the mental health project. We have actually divided into 3 phases. The first phase was the start. The second phase was the spreading out of the webinars and everything. This is mainly to recruit more schools and Interact schools into the fold. And currently we have more than double-digit schools involved in this Exendo projects. And the webinars are still ongoing to recruit more schools into this, more Interact clubs into this project to spread it. Eventually, we'll move on to phase 3, hopefully by end of this year, where we will have a joint collaboration with the the IMH, Institute of Mental Health of Singapore. And then, so we're reaching out to more interactors through webinars. This is the current status. We're already on our 3rd webinar. And then our Clean Hands project, spreading out to ASEAN. We are in Cambodia with a few schools, basically to teach poor students in poor schools how proper hygiene and provide soap for them. Very relevant for the current situation that we face now. And our main aim for this at this point in time is to get greater Interact participation, Interact clubs participation, the various schools within Singapore to participate in this project. And from here, we will branch out to even more schools within ASEAN, other than the Cambodian schools and other schools. Okay, so as part of the reason why I started off with the ILTC, the camp, is because during the camp, we actually elected the current president of the ICC, which is the Interact Coordinating Committee. This committee will overlook the projects, all these 2 major projects of all the different Interact clubs. And the current president is from Hwa Chong, and he's excellent. So he has pushed these 2 projects to greater heights with an increased number of schools and students participating, and an increased number of awareness among the schools for these 2 projects. So we are very thankful for the current ICC, Interact Coordinating Committee Chairman. Okay, so we're still drawing up this Rotary member list. This is not an updated list. By the next YSC meeting, we would have put all our YSC Rotary members into the various schools, and then we'll discuss whether everyone is happy with that list. That will go on in the next YSC committee. And finally, we just formed a committee headed by PP Jimmy, who is we are in the process of discussing and formulating how we can further help our Rotaract clubs, which is one age group higher than the Interact clubs, how we can play a greater role in the running, maybe, or even the involvement of the Rotaract clubs projects, how we can play a greater fostering role with them. And we are currently in discussions with them. Because of various background reasons, the Rotaract clubs will need a hand to hold, and I guess ours is probably the best hand for them to hold. This is important because firstly, we can guide them, and secondly, the Rotaract clubs could be a stepping stone for our recruitment drive, and from this stone they will step to our stone, hopefully in the Rotary club. So I'm just about reaching, and then we had our various installations. The latest one will be the Rotaract Club of Singapore, coincidentally, where our President Dinesh gave a stirring speech. It was very, very well received and very, very interesting. So I'd like to thank President Dinesh for his excellent speech during this program for the installation of the Rotaract Club of Singapore. As we mentioned, this is a very important installation because this is the committee that we are going to work closely together with, hopefully in the near future. Okay, and eventually we're going to come up with some joint projects with the different service committees, and these are still in the pipeline. Maybe by the time we have our next update, we will have more projects to present in terms of our joint projects within the Rotary Club. Thank you very much, everyone. If further questions, you can ask me. Thank you, President Dinesh. Okay, I'm done. President Dinesh, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, President Dinesh, please unmute yourself.
Okay, Dr. Ganesh, thank you very much. I think you're doing very well, even with the restriction of COVID.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, and I'm sure members enjoyed and liked your information and latest update. We'll see you in 6 weeks' time again. Thank
Okay,
you.
I'll have much more to provide at that time.
Okay. All right, now is the Kaifer time. Know your fellow Rotarian. And I'm very pleased to call upon Rotarian Para Fanitz. Para is our newer Rotarian, but he comes from our satellite club. And I think we were all looking forward to hear you, Para, tell us about you. Dear members, I give you Para, please.
Thank you. Could I check if you can see the
Yes.
page intended to be blank?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good evening once again. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to introduce myself. I'm a Thai national and my name is Pada, spelled PDA. Contrary to what most people think, it is not an acronym or an abbreviation. It is my full first name. The length of my name is unusual for a Thai. Thai names have a meaning, and the name supports you in some way. A name like Kieo Somboon can be translated to green and abundant. This practice usually results in a long name. The full name of the capital city of Thailand, as you can see, is very descriptive. My name, Pada, means consistent and stable. The meaning of my name is not commonly known because my grandmother, who was a Thai language teacher, used really old language to derive the name. So I am Thai, but sometimes I would introduce myself as a fake Thai. I do not take spicy food. A typical Thai would bite into a chili buddy like it was a baby carrot or a cucumber. I will start to sweat just from smelling chili buddies. I cannot read Thai. I did learn quite some time ago, so I can try to read and end up guessing what I'm reading. My grandmother will not be proud. I don't know where to go in Thailand, so please don't ask me where to go. I think I am more comfortable bringing people around New York City or Singapore more than I would be in Bangkok. This is a result of spending most of my life outside my country. I have lived in Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, New York City, and have been enjoying Singapore since 2003. My parents are in Thailand. My sister lives with her family in the United States, and I'm living here with my pebble. On the right of the slide, in the top left corner are my parents. My sister's daughters, my nieces, are in the top right corner. The bottom left is my sister. The picture was taken from a year ago, so the baby girl Suwin has grown up quite a bit from then. The bottom right is my Pebble. Pebble is 15 years old, but she still acts like a puppy most of the time. At other times, she is a cranky old lady who must have everything her way because she thinks I live to serve her. And in a way, I do live to serve her. I work at BW LPG as the General Manager of Business Controlling, a part of finance. LPG is liquefied petroleum gas, LPG is used for cooking, heating, generation of electricity, vehicle propulsion, and making plastic bags. As a fuel source, LPG is cleaner than gasoline or diesel. LPG-powered vehicles emits virtually no soot. The company I work for is the world's leading owner and operator of very large gas carriers, also known as VLGC. As of June, the company operates 46 VLGCs, which is about 15% of the world's fleet.
Sorry, can you?
Hello.
I think I have a 3-a-side ball game.
Should I continue?
Football.
Please continue. I'll just try and figure out.
Who's this? Who's
Okay.
that?
LPG is listed in the Oslo Stock Exchange, the Oslo Bourse. Most of you are not in shipping, and even if you are in shipping, LPG carriers are really a niche market. So to give you a better idea, VLGCs are generally over 200 meters in length. That is longer than the length of 2 football fields. One VLGC, that is one vessel, generally has a capacity to carry over 80,000 cubic meters of LPG, which is enough to supply over 2,000 Singaporean households' annual consumption in 2018. This is based on the data from the Energy Market Authority of Singapore. So what do I do in this company exactly? What is business controlling? My background is in finance. I studied financial investments at Bernard M. Baruch College, which is a part of the City University of New York. I'm in a role that I could not have imagined when I was in school. My role involves budgeting and projections, accounts payable, receivable, process reviews for risk mitigation, system implementation and integration, data management, and dashboard management. It sounds more IT than finance, and I usually describe my role as miscellaneous. My induction to new employees is if you do not know who to approach for a certain need or problem, usually that would be me. In businesses today, we have a lot of automation. Things just work based on a set of rules in the systems we work with. Businesses today also have a lot of data, and data all the time. Misinterpreting these data points can lead to disastrous decisions. That is why business controlling, my department, is involved in these data flows, process formulation, and system integrations to ensure that proper controls and rules are set appropriately to mitigate inherent risk of automation and data misinterpretation. And that's basically what I do to support my Pebble. I have been lucky to have supporting parents, good friends, rewarding work, and generally a happy life. Unfortunately, this is not the case for most of the people in the world where they struggle just to survive another day. And this is why I joined Rotary. If I may share a quote, thousands of candles can be lighted from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. From Buddha, allegedly. I was introduced to Rotary when I was my father's +1 to one of your meetings. I had always been involved with community service when I was studying and was instantly determined to join this organization. Jimmy Wee has been my conduit to Rotary, and even PDG Dr. Filbert had, let's say, coached me quite a few times since I had been involved on and off since maybe 2005. In joining Rotary, I hope that I may spread a bit of happiness to those who need it most. Again, thank you again for allowing me to share a bit of myself with you, and please enjoy the rest of the meeting.
President Dinesh, you're on mute. President Dinesh, you're still on mute. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Pira. Now we know more about you, what you have been working on, and I'm sure you will be helping us on streamlining our process and the accounting system. Thank you very much. So I think I'll have to share this screen again. All right. So now is the speaker time, and we have our speaker, Venkat from Olam, whom industries you know very well, and I'll now call upon Director Sonali Sinha to introduce our speaker tonight.
Thank
Sonali,
you,
please.
President. Thank you. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Srinivasan Venkita Padmanabhan, Venkat for short. Venkat is the President of Olam International Limited and the Global Head of Finance. He's a senior member of the Finance Executive Committee, Finance Talent Management Committee, and a member of the Operational Committee of the Olam Group. Olam Group is a 30 billion $30 billion company operating in about 70 countries and employing over 70,000 people all over the world. Olam is listed on the Singapore Stock Exchange. His email signature reads: insight, influence, involve, impact, inspire, institutionalize, introspect, and inclusive. That gives us a very good insight into what's important for Venkat. So Venkat's talk today will cover areas such as social capital, CSR, the 3 Ps, that is planet, people, and profit, sustainability of business, the role of leaders, and he will touch upon feeding a growing global population, poverty, and climate change. So without further ado, I present to you Venkat. Venkat, please.
Just 1 minute. Since Honorary Secretary Bridget is not there, if there are any questions, please put it on the chat. So that...
Sure. Thank you so much, Sonali. And Honorable Mr. President Dinesh, this is the first time I'm hearing you. People say that you are a good speaker, so I'm waiting to hear your next speech. And my good friend Suresh, Tapan, a lot of good friends are here. Uttam, so many people are there. I'm very, very pleased. I feel at home when I'm speaking to you. Okay, so I'm just start sharing few of my beliefs and my thought processes, which I'm sure can resonate with a lot of what Rotary Club is doing it. When I read through what you do, a people of action, filled with passion, and action speaks for itself in elevating the global problems, problem solvers, problem solution providers, and be in the front. And that's very much appealing when I read through about what you do. Thank you so much for giving an opportunity to share some of my thoughts with you. The topic, which is the way in which I coined the name, is very important because for me, like I said, who am I and what I want to be and why I've come to this world and what will happen to me when I go after this, life which I'm living here. I truly believe the difference between life and death is one breath away. I inhale, I'm living, I'm exhale, I'm dead. If that is the case, how the power of now, every minute, every day when you spend, how you can make an impact is very much important in whatever form and manner, however you are small or big in your roles, is very important. The club talks a lot about it. So here I just want to touch upon, we spend about 10 hours in your business or in your employment, wherever you are, more than the time you spend with your family. If that is true, is it only for a paycheck? Is it only for making the profit? If that is the case, then I am in the deathbed. If I can imagine I'm in the deathbed, but I can listen to people coming and speaking about me, and true for each one of us, what I like to hear and what I'm leaving behind. I came to this world without anything, and when I go back also, I'm not going to carry any of the millions which I make. But what I'm going to make and leave behind is the people whom I touched meaningfully. And that really matters a lot for most of you. Every Rotarian, I'm sure, in your heart of heart, that's what you do. If that is being true, then how do you choose a business or how do you choose an employment which caters to that need? So that you don't work, you live a life when you're working or when you do a business. Every dollar you make, every million you make, you believe you're making it for a cause. So here, when you talk about the 3P principle, politically and socially to be right, people talk about planet, people, and then profit. And I believe in it a lot. But I truly believe, since I'm speaking to fellow business people, all the principles and ethos are very valuable if I'm making money. Because if I do all the good, the first two things I do is so good, but I don't make money, then I don't have money to fund those projects, nor my shareholders or my business, or I don't have ethos to continue doing that. So how do we coexist all the three? It's very, very important. And here I will just touch upon a little bit about my own company and how we do that. So hence, you have to make money, but how the means to make money is very important. If the means to make money is creating and touching people's life meaningfully, and that creates a better planet for the future generation when I go up after this world, if our future generation believe that we have done something back to them, that purpose is very, very important. Here, in addition to the 3 Ps which we talked about, planet, people, and profit, I just want to introduce a small concept which I heard in one of the seminar, and it is very close to my heart, which is the big P and the small p. The small p is what you, each and every employee or each and every business member of the team believes in himself, that his purpose, his value system, and why he exists. I'm sure each one of you would ask this question in your career or business life. Who am I? The big P is the society, the organization, or the employment, or the business which you run. That organization's bigger purpose, which is a shared purpose. In my organization, 70,000 employees are sharing that same vision and goal on the P, the big P. And the marriage between the big P and the small p, if it is coherent, then people like us, I've been with this group for 27 years, I never thought of updating my resume. Yes, that's what will result, and that's what will happen to some of you as a business people. So how do you coexist these two? So in this case, I just want to talk about Olam, where I'm working for, and I'll also touch upon another story where I'm an investor. Olam, as you all know, is into commodity sector. So we started as a supply chain, integrated supply chain manager. At that time, you all know that the ABCDs of the world has been in the system in the world for 150 years plus. Big giants. So I'm a new entrant, only 30-year-old. Just last year I completed 30 years. Such an young company, 30 years back, and of which 26 years I've been with the group. When we started our life as to do a business, we thought the way to make a difference, at that time we didn't know the big P or small p terminology, etc., nor the word sustainability to coin. But we truly believed that if you are able to go to the farm's gate, the guy who is producing 1 ton, 2 ton of whatever commodity he is buying, producing, and I'm able to give him a fair price and teach him the farming techniques, and then so I'm a partner to him. And how do I deliver to the factory gate, which is a Nestle or a Kraft or anybody for the matter, and I have a role to play. Simple model, right? Very, very simple model. That means if the growing arable land predominantly exists in Africa and in South America, because all other parts of the world is all converted to road and buildings and barren land, That being the case, then we started our operations in Africa, and that's how the business we started. We bought one product, cashew, exported. Then we felt that, how do we build our model on cost sharing, channel sharing, and competency sharing? That means the same guy who is buying a cashew, how can I buy a cocoa and coffee if the farmer has got ability to grow that material? Or the local buying agent who collects the material has the ability to buy from other farmers, which is called cost sharing. That means the same person able to buy multiple products. Channel sharing, because the same network of supply chain, I can use it to buy the 3 commodities. Then competency sharing in terms of managing the risk on the ground and quality and so on and so forth. Same in the case of the end users at the factory level. How do we ensure that the same customer, if Nestle wanted a nuts and coffee and cocoa, or a Kraft wanted for the chocolates, all these commodities, how can I, or if somebody who is buying cashew nut also want peanut, pistachio and etc. nuts. How do I supply, which is the channel competing? That's how we started, very simple. And we followed one-step synergy called adjacency. That means expand from one country to another country and then so on and so forth. Today we are 70 countries. Then we found the gates are crashing because information arbitrage has disappeared. People are going to the ground and, directly buying things, and hence there is no information arbitrage. But you see, the value by which we started our business model of directly connecting the farm, which is where the whole business model has changed, which is called, if everybody is interested, we all purpose, we all believe that, it is important, the planet is important. And we are the very few, or rather, I can even say handful of people who have the ability to tell that what grown in the farm, what kind of fertilizer used, whether child labor is involved, the full traceability. When you have a cup of coffee in Starbucks, the coffee which is used is our coffee, then we are able to know, very soon through an app that whom we are touching, right? Which farmers you are touched and where you bought and how the coffee is originated. And beyond all that, how many lives you transformed, because the same small farmer's income is better. I remember vividly the story in 1994, when I went to Nigeria, I met a farmer who doesn't have even a house roof over his head. 3-4 kids are on the street. Today, his kids are studying in abroad, studying for higher education. That is the meaning. That is the purpose, which is what we are able to touch and feel it. Now come to the planet part of it. This I talked about people and the society, whom we touch about, how we transform. We totally, truly believe in not giving away fishes, but teach people how to catch fishes. That's how we built our business. The second model is the planet. Because as you know that the yield difference, if you are a wheat producer or a rice producer, the yield which you get it in Nigeria as compared to a developed world like US, huge difference. Because small growers not able to do a large scale, or the best farming practices not able to do, and hence yield is not getting done properly. It is not GM way of increasing yield, but genuinely giving the best practices to the ground, along with coexist with the government and NGOs, and how do we nurture and grow them to become a better farmers so they get the better yield, thus also able to feed ever increasing larger population, it be 9.5 billion or 10 billion. So that is the second area. So when we teach about these areas, we also teach about how to use the natural resources. Just a case in point here, we are the largest almond producers both in California and in Australia. Our plants has got a sensor. We use technology to see that what is the moisture level in the stump of the tree, and based on that is like feeding the baby. We just feed the tree to the extent of water we need to give, right? And that dramatically ensures that we conserve water for a longer, much better purpose. Similarly, that carbon footprint, agriculture is contributing for the highest carbon footprint. So we have vowed and taking best practices to see that how we can have zero, carbon footprints. That means net positive impact we are able to create to the ground. And all this is not, we are doing it for its own good or to talk about, because it's also resulting in a profit for us, because if you're able to give a traceability, if you're able to give this, differentiator, the customers, people like Nestle and Crafts, etc. today, because increasingly your kids and my kids want that purpose-oriented companies, food, etc., doing good to the society, so they are ready to pay a premium. It may not material fully today, but that's how the things are changing, and that's what will happen, and that's what will happen as to be remain sustainable. Now, when you talk about sustainable, people not only talk about planet and the people part of it, but you have to talk about how your company can withstand and grow beyond your life. For generations, the good to great story, the company which is, where the guy has written about the book, many of the companies don't exist. And there is a study saying that, 3 generation people cannot see the companies will disappear. But there are great companies able to withstand the time horizon, mainly because the sustainability, the ESG goals of ensuring that how the governances and the ethical practices and the sustainability of doing business. That means you manage short term, but also manage long term. It's very important, because under my watch, if I have to manage short term, how to increase my profit, that's what matters. And this is where, choosing the right shareholders who believe in your short term and long term, which makes a huge difference in terms of how we can grow the business. And we are fortunate to have Temasek and Mitsubishi as being our shareholders. So today, I'm very pleased and happy to say that many parts of the world, we are the largest corporate farmers. We touch more than 5 million farmers on the ground, touch them physically, and we have transformed many societies, not by donating money, but teaching them how to catch the fishes, the example which I shared, so that they become self-sufficient and they have a pride and proud in what they do in terms of how to nurture their business. Then one more challenge if I have to throw here will be, all of you will know that you and me are happy to sit in an habit over an aircon office, and that's what true for all our kids. But farming is a very labor-intensive work, and today people don't want to work in farm. And you know that as the economy progress happens, in many places, people want to get into a desk job or office job, and less people are migrating from urban to villages. It's opposite. A lot of people are moving away from villages. So how do you make farming attractive? And that's very important. That's where we implemented. One of this my colleague is also here. Will say, they're reimagineers. They are world-class institutes. They studied and came back, but they joined Olam because they believe that we are going to reimagine the way in which agriculture is produced to feed the 10 billion population with less carbon footprint, less natural resources, or even usage, and how do we create a better world for the going forward. So that is the question about the big P and small p marriage, and that cannot be displayed in a notice board and stick it in a wall. It has to be felt when you are meeting any other Olamite. We call Olam people as Olamite because it's like a cult we call, like you are calling Rotarians, right? We call ourselves Olamite just to say that, by seeing me, you should feel it. It's not by what I'm talking, because we have to walk the talk, and that's very important for every leader. And here, when I talk about leader is not by designation. Everybody, a sales guy on the floor also is a leader. A guy in the farmer who is managing farmer coordination also is a leader. That means how we can allow and imbibe those values in your 70,000 employees to speak the same language. The way in which our CEO and founder, co-founder, Sunny can speak is for the differentiating factor. And if you are able to embed that, there is a joy, there is a happiness, morning and you going and coming back, and you don't believe, you don't think I'm working for earning a living. You believe you're creating a differentiation, and of course I'm earning money. Nothing wrong in earning money. So that's where I put up this 3P principle to say planet, people, and profit matters, but the way in which successful businesses, or even in each one of you, when we choose our businesses, rather than, like for example, when you're doing exercise, one doctor also is here, doctors will say that you don't need to do it a separate time for exercise. Bring it part of your habit. You climb steps, rather than walking, you get down one step, from a bus a little away and then walk. So how do you make it, the doing good as part of your day-to-day routine is important. Now, the last piece, before I go into the one more small example, is on the personal P. It's very happy to say that I'm doing sustainability, I'm donating, I'm part of this association, etc., blah, and etc. But at home, your kids are watching the practices which you do, what clothes you wear, what kind of emissions and pollutions you leave behind, at what degree you are keeping your aircon on, right? Singapore is well known for keeping it 17, 18, not 24, and what kind of footprints you are leaving behind in the environment. You should watch the CNBC article on how Antarctica is collapsing, the melting is increasing, how the water level in Singapore, the beautiful city, the water level is increasing. We are going to spend $100 billion, which is announced by PM, to protect our country. Otherwise, 2/3 of the country will be underwater in 50 years down the line, right? So the personal ethos, which was not there for me, I didn't know the impact of what I do and what the impact. To be very frank with you, I also keep the AC at a high level at least 5-7 years back or 10 years back. But now I'm conscious of not using water bottles and straws and plastic and the impact which can create, and the consumption. Yes, you have one suit, one dress, one shirt. How many times the consumption oriented, I want to keep changing my wardrobe every month and every day. What I'm trying to prove here, the more I buy, the more I use, I'm polluting this world, right? In some form and manner. So how you can walk the talk in terms of what you do is also matters as leaders in the businesses which you run in the form and manner. Lastly, I have another 10 minutes more. Am I right? Yeah.
Yes.
So this examples I'm going to give you, this is nothing to do with Olam. These are the places where I'm now finding much more joy in over and above, my leisure, what I do with my family. One, of course, my office, organization, but I'm talking about my personal time. Whenever I met youngsters, I met an youngster, his name is Anil. He's the guy who was a programmer, IT programmer, artificial intelligence learned guy. He was with TCS and later with some investment banking, earning upwards of $500,000. Quit the job at the age of 37, came to Singapore to study in NUS for artificial intelligence and machine learning, advanced MS course, and got it successfully completed. When he was completing, he had two choices. Go back to the business world and continue to earn that hundreds of $1,000, or he can start himself. He wanted to become an entrepreneur and he said he will start. Again, he had 2 or 3 choices. One, to create something on technology and make lots of money, or edutech, agri-tech. And he chose to do agri-tech. That company name is called GoSave. If you have time, you can just, note down and look at this. Very small company. I just invested very recently. But that guy, he says, there are so many farmers back in his hometown, Andhra. He says, there are so much people, if people are earning $100 profit from the farm to supply, the middleman takes away 80 or 90, and that farmer who is putting the toiling effort, he gets a pittance. So using technologies, sensor and this and that, etc., to grow vegetables in a better way, and directly sourcing from him to using technologies and deliver to our home, right? He supplies fruits and vegetables. That's what he does. He's got 350-400 clients today. That was fascinating. And when he built it, even today, he's not made money. It's a small company, small investment. But what I'm trying to say, the world, our kids, what they want to do and what they want to create an impact is much more than what we, or rather I, boast about myself and, talk in many public places, because these are the true living examples coming and teaching you that what matters they really pursue in the formal manner. The more I speak to him, I get much more inspired in terms of, and of course he introduced a couple of his friends who has got also equally the similar kind of stories on what matters to the world. He's a guy who has co-developed with Vincent, the professor, Ysc. Singapore has got a platform called Ysc, where anybody who wants to collect money, we can easily do that. That platform was created by this gentleman, Anil, right, of the GoSave, etc. So the point I'm trying to say is, either I change or I will be forced to change. My daughter gets so angry, if I go to a food court and carry a straw with me, not now, I'm talking about 3-4 years back, she yells at me. Why are you, what you're doing, right? I cannot carry a plastic bottle, even if it is given in a conference, right? Because the kids are much more aware about what the sustainability means, what does it mean to them for the better world of the future, and they really practice. To sum it up, I really believe that you all know the rich and poor divide if you look at it, the top 1% and the 90%, if you divide, the top person, 1% controls about 70% of the world's wealth. You and me, as we speak, millions go to bed without the food. And in this case, more than growing and producing better food, that's also important, the food wasted on the table. And it's a crime in my house if anybody even, wastes few rice, pieces on the plate. Because there are people who don't have, the food wasted is in the restaurants and your parties and my home and your home is about 50%. And then about 20 to 30% is what get lost on transit, or there is no better storage facilities for people to store. If we just conserve the current food, that itself is good enough to feed another billion people. Today, we don't need to produce anything more, right? So that's again the question of how do you preserve, how do you save, how you're conscious about what you're eating. Similarly, again, I'm not preaching any principle here, but vegetarian and non-vegetarian. To produce a meat, 1 kg of meat, we need about 350 times more water than what to produce 1 kg of a vegetarian, corn or whatever it is. Because that much of consumption of water is required. I'm not saying that we should, do away with the non-veg, but just be aware and conscious about the impact of what we create, what we eat, And the underlying story behind, I'm saying that I'm preserving water, but one, when I eat a chicken piece, what the impact on the ground also matters. So that means being more self-aware creates a huge opening call for each one of us to take action in the common manner. So that's where my take on it. I think we are talking about CSR. I think that topic I didn't touch about, because today you go to any investor. I'm having 2 more minutes or 5 more minutes. Yeah. So if you go to any investors today, there are green bonds. People are saying, you please meet all we have raised $500 million green bonds. You please do good and prove to me that you are doing good. I'm ready to give you better interest rate. That's how the world is operating. You use technology to solve the problem. I have a digital loan to provide for you. Investors are saying that if you're not ESG compliant, I'm not going to invest in you, right? If you don't have a diversity, it's a different topic altogether. So what I'm trying to say is the market also is calling for this kind of marriage between big P in terms of how you marry, and for you to be happy, because happy is what important. I started beginning with the power of now, because you're born in this world, and we think about your deathbed and think about all the what people are going to speak, means how you, the power of now, every minute, every day, how you spend your time, and which is meaningful and purposeful, and you feel good that you have done something today, you know, left a good footprints, not a bad footprints in this world for our future generation. And that is the joy, that's the happiness, where the conflicts of personal leadership and business leadership come together to enjoy this world. Thank you so much. Any questions I can take?
Thank
Yes,
you.
Venkat.
Thank you, Venkat. Excuse me. Thank you, Venkat, for your excellent speech. Very inspiring. You have given us a lot of thoughts for introspection, both ourselves and the business we do. Before I open for questions and answer, I would like to welcome Ms. D. Eng, District Chair from District 7430, Pennsylvania from US. Welcome, Madam D. Eng. And now I open for question and answer. I hand over to our Vice President, Suresh Kirti. Thank you, Venkat.
Can I come in with a question? This is Uttam here.
Please do that.
Venkat, good to see you again. Absolutely fascinating what you've described. One of the things which Rotary is now beginning to look at is corporate membership. And with people like you involved with organizations such as Olam, we hope that Olam will become one of our first corporate members when we open the doors to corporate organizations. Excellent. We thoroughly enjoyed your speech today.
Thank you so much, Uttam.
Thank you.
I would like to just mention that Joseph just reminded me that Olam is founded by our own member, late PP Murli Chandrai. He founded Olam and Reddington, both from a small company, both have been large listed companies. We also have a new perspective. I think it's Luis Anade is also working with Olam. Venkat, thank you very much. It was very inspirational. And just to epitomize what you had been inspiring you, it's what you give, you take to the grave, and not what you take, which is the driver for most of our Rotarians.
Yes. Thank you. Incidentally, Luis is one of the reimagineers. He joined our FLP Future Leader Program. He is very inspirational. He was working in Brazil in our team. Now he's in Singapore digital term. You ask him whatever we said, he feel it every day. I mean, we can ask him to have a few words.
Sorry, go ahead, Luis. Go ahead, Luis.
Luis.
No, go ahead, Luis.
Can you unmute yourself, Luis? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say that I corroborate everything Venkat said, and it's really inspired to be working with Olam and with Venkat and the likes.
Venkat, as Uttam said, one is the option of looking at the corporate membership. The other one is, since you are very strong in CSR, is there any way that we can work on some projects for the company in all the areas in the countries that we work in?
Not only just working with the company and Rotary, but having Venkat also as an individual.
The Rotarian, yes.
That's always our focus, right?
He could join in as a corporate member.
Thank you. Tappan is after me for Lord. Joseph is after me, Lord. The only reason, to be very honest, I mean, definitely I'll try. The only reason is, some of people know me. I put my hands and legs beyond wherever I can put. I'm a grassroots leader. I'm in the treasurer of Singapore Indian Finance Associations. I'm in a couple of social board meetings. So the way in which, I see a pattern. So that when you accepted so many things, if you don't do justice, let me step down from somewhere and then come back to you. But definitely, this talk helped me to read a lot about Rotary. And so it was very inspiring. I mean, especially the, action-oriented, passionate. And today I can see that. I mean, all of you, when I look at your eyes, I can see that. Really, I definitely would want to be part of this August company sometime soon.
And shortly, Venkat, you'll also be hearing something from the US from our guest, who will be telling us a little bit about their club and what do they do there. So that'll be interesting as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other question?
No.
Thank you. And I think I'll call now our Rotarian Vineet Sarangdhar to give word of thanks. Vineet.
Thank you, President Dinesh. Yes, Venkat, that everybody has already summarized very well, but yes, I must reiterate again that it was a fantastic talk, very fluid, captivating, and inspiring. Actually, we were informed that you will be covering various topics: social capital, CSR, the 3 Ps, sustainability of business, role of leaders, and touch upon feeding growing population, etc., etc. And I was wondering how you would cover so much in such a short time. But I must say you did a full justice to the whole range of interrelated topics. And personally, I love the examples of your own company in which you explained how you are integrating the goals of profitability and sustainability, not just for the company, but also for the community and for the environment. So I'm sure your speech has inspired our already motivated members to do even more. Lastly, Mr. Venkat, on behalf of Rotary Club of Singapore, I thank you very much for joining us today and for sharing your insights. And also wish you all the best on your journey to making a positive contribution to the people and the planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Vineet. Next week, our speaker will be Vishal Harnal from 500 Startups. The topic to be advised. And Suresh, will you tell something about the speaker next week?
Vishal Harnal was a lawyer, and he did his Kaufman program at Stanford, at the Kaufman Institute on venture capitalism. And he joined this company called the Startup 500, which is the largest VC in the world on startups. And he himself in the Asia Pacific region has done about 200 startup investments. And he is going to talk about something which all of us worry and wonder, how they invest in startups which have become unicorns. On what basis they judge that. And he will tell us a little bit on his experiences and share some views on how he invests.
Thank you, Suresh. Varun, would you like to call Ms. Dieng to say a few words?
Sure. Dear District Chair, can I invite you to say a few words about your club and about anything that you would like to share with us today?
Very short.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for inviting me. Varun found me on the International Forum for Rotary Friendship Exchange. My club is 103 members, and we live just north of Philadelphia. We're in District 7430, which encompasses 46 clubs. We do a lot of international. He asked me to talk about our international stuff. We do a lot of international things with other districts as well as within our own. Within our own club, we are trying to do COVID-19 things, and we are trying to feed 300 students a week. We even did it through the summer. because all our schools were closed. And we normally only do 30, so that kind of 32, so it kind of shows you the impact it had in our area. Although I do think things are much better now, and will continue to be, hopefully. But we've been pretty much very limited in what we can do here. As far as economically for small businesses, actually all the large are running fine. As far as our international projects, we were supposed to go in October to build a school in Mfiri, Zambia. We were there last year, and this year we were going to build their science and math building for the high school, which kind of languished with just like 3 or 4 bricks because they couldn't do the money themselves. So we were doing that with another person from a district in Michigan. And of course, we're very involved in what the cleft palate. We had a group go to Guatemala. So, and we bought some medical equipment in Romania with 2 other districts. But we do have, sad to say, I'm on the committee for the international committee because of being the Rotary Friendship Exchange, which we do 1 to 2 a year. But of course, all that is all on hold now also. So Varun had asked about a virtual exchange, which so we could show you some of our projects, and hopefully maybe in the future we could gather together and maybe do a international project. And what we find very rewarding is when we can go see the international projects that we were involved in. So don't want to take up too much of your meeting because it's any like the meetings that I've been to on Zoom that are in the evening, since our meetings are only 1 hour and they're ended so people can get back to work.
Thank you, Ms. Dieng.
Evening one's longer. So thank you very much for inviting me. I hope to see you sometime in the future.
Sure, thank you.
So before I close the meeting, please stay on for another 15 to 20 minutes for fellowship. And now, I think we had a very good speaker. We had a good meeting. We had very good Kaifer. I liked it very much. And I think we all enjoyed Pidai speaking about himself. And we also had our what's happening. And you had a glimpse of what our service directors are doing. So I would like to now close the meeting. Please stay on. Meeting is closed.
Thank you. Thank you.